Good evening, everyone. This is the Bowmen podcast coming at you here. We got season 2, episode 1 going live right now. We got a great crew for you. We have the young, shaved Troy Forrester from Greenlight Outdoors. You didn't think he was going to get away with not being, told anything about that, but
Yeah,
you're going to
clean
a
shaven,
wedding or a
old over here.
funeral or something over there. I don't know what you're doing.
You got a beautiful baby face.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
there. Just enjoy it. It won't be there for long.
The post hunting season shave going on. We got Mr. Josh Miller at Triple Point Outdoors, the bloody broadhead on the side. He's all clean shaven too. I don't think he can grow facial hair.
Well, no, I had to shave. My wife told me I had to because it's pretty nasty. I can't stand it once it gets certified. I got to shave. It just itches.
Not everyone
I'm not man enough to have that full beard, Paul.
Yeah, this is 3 days for me.
Yeah.
3 hours.
Yeah, I shaved this morning.
Jesus, man.
What a man. What a man.
Speaking of that, we got Mr. Andy Elliot, Blade Rain TV over there coming at us from the snowy, what are you, South Dakota?
No, Northwest North Dakota.
Northwest, almost to Canada. So
Yeah, hour from the Canadian border.
how much snow you got now?
We got about 6 inches last 2 days here, but there's another Alberta Clipper coming in. We're going to get another 3 or 4 inches. So, wintertime finally woke up here. It's been springtime. It's getting. We got a system coming in. It's going to be over the weekend. It's going to be 55 below. So it's going to be kind of daunting outside.
Yeah, daunting's a good word for it. Not me. We're sitting here in Virginia and middle of Virginia, central Virginia. It's 52 degrees today. It's gonna be 61 tomorrow. Partly sunny skies and balmy 5-mile-an-hour southeast wind. So I'll deal with that until we don't get winter around here. We have mud season.
Yeah.
All right.
Wait till we get the mud up here, brother. You talking about some nasty stuff?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Nope. And then I got Mr. Noel Evans down there, Final Descent Outdoors, with that beautiful buck in the background that we just keep staring at. Is that the only one he got mounted?
No, I got several more. You've seen them.
No, just the other one that looks fake. I still think that deer's fake.
No, and there's another one in front of me, and then another one downstairs.
Oh, nice.
That's just the best one.
That's the best one.
Sure.
The prettiest one. All right, excellent. Well, we are here. We're done with season 1. We got through the holidays. We're all alive and well. We're starting off with season 2. I want to start off and thank everyone for a successful year last year in 2023. And it's looking out to be a very prominent year for us at the Bowmen coming up this year in 2024. So keep a lookout for that. And this episode here is just going to be a little bit of catching up. Kind of what we did over the break. We took a couple-week break here to be with family and restructure our businesses and all that. And well, here we are back on track. So, Andy, how'd your season go up there, man? I saw some little clips here and there with a lot of kills, but what's the count? What's the tally? What'd you get?
That's going to be revealed later on, Paul. I can't give that secret away just yet.
Oh, okay.
But it's been a good year. North Dakota was good to me. South Dakota, Montana, Oregon. We traveled all over. We've even been down in the South and got a bunch of footage this year. But just trying to figure out where we're heading 24 here and exactly what we're going to do. And just kind of keeping the old rain train going down the tracks. Yeah, looking for some coal, man.
What about elk? You get into any elk this year?
Yeah, we got a archery tag field over in Oregon this past year, so that worked out. Yeah, that worked out well. And dude, that was a
Roosevelt or
yeah, well, it was a Roosevelt, yeah, in that area, but it was just a little bit north of where you would get into the thick Roosevelt. But we did end up getting one down there. Yeah, or over there.
Nice. Cool. Pretty cool.
How many miles can you disclose how many miles you put on that trailer of yours?
Jesus Lord, man. Probably I bet 5,200 miles probably.
Wow.
Just a few.
Yeah, just a few, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That thing's been up enough mountain trails. It's probably got to have a new axle put on it by now. I gotta go through that thing and do some serious beefing up on the suspension on that trailer.
You sleep in there overnight? You have a tent, or you sleep in the trailer?
No, I don't sleep in the trailer unless I need to. But I mean, I got a big old canvas tent. I mean, I think I can pull that trailer top of the mountain, open the door, and throw down in probably about an hour and set up camp out of that thing, man. Got all my bows and everything in there. Yeah.
Excellent. What are you pulling it with?
My Ram 2500.
What year?
It's a 12. I have to send you guys some pictures of what I did to that truck. But me being a diesel mechanic, I pulled everything out from the front bumper to the rear end, and I put about $80,000 in that truck 2 years ago. Twin turboed it. Oh yeah, I got some money tied up in that, but I built it for a purpose, and that's the reason everybody told me I was crazy. But we all do crazy things, right?
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
So you're saying you did not.
Yep.
You're saying you did not convert it to electric. So
negative,
Oh,
Ghost Rider.
no.
No.
My next truck is a Ford Lightning, maybe someday. Those babies
No.
are bad. I can throw my archery stuff in the front, and that front goes right down the locks.
You will be voted off the island.
Smoke it.
Yeah,
You can try. You can try to
Yeah.
vote the island, but I don't think it's gonna work.
Oh, I mean,
It might be able to handle 3 or 4 bows. That's about it.
The haul from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds.
are you
No
going to
one
be
likes.
that
No one
guy
likes the
with
electric. Listen. You guys are all that way, right? You don't like the whisker biscuit. You don't like the Ford Lightning. But when I smoke past you, well, I can smoke past you now. My F-150 with the twin turbo with V6 2.7 liter.
Sure, keep telling yourself that. I mean, Troy's
You're-
truck made it out
Well-
here. Fine.
Your bow shoots.
It made it.
Troy, hey, whoa, back up. Troy loves my truck, doesn't he?
Yeah, it'd be an upgrade to mine.
You're
That's
waiting
true.
on that. You're waiting on that. I knew you were gonna bring in there. Troy loves my F-150.
I will say I like the original Ford Lightning, that lowered, flared side, supercharged.
No, dude, that's a street machine, man. That's not a real truck.
Oh, that's got to have a little bit of everything here. You can't just go one way there. But no, we won't. Josh will, when he buys his electric vehicle, will be the guy with the diesel powered generator in the bed of the truck.
No.
You know
keeping it running.
Let me tell Andy what's
Keeping
smart
it
about
real.
that truck. You know what's smart about that truck? Here's what's smart about that truck. When your house loses power, Andy, up in North Dakota, when the old winds come a howling this weekend and you lose power, instead of getting the generator turned on, you really just plug that baby back into your house and it'll power your house for 3 days.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I
But
don't
then
think
your
it
car's
works like
dead.
that, Josh.
What's that?
Then your
What's that?
car's dead. Like
Your car? What?
Yeah.
I said, but then your car's dead. So
The power's going to come back on at some point, Paul.
yeah, eventually, unless the grid goes down and then you can't keep it going. And
Well,
also, for the record,
we got a little bit bigger problem.
do you know how many young children they use in lithium mines in order to? Have you ever seen a lithium mine? Man, have you ever seen?
Wait. Are we
Yeah,
still debating electric vehicles versus diesel and gas? Because I could do that all day long.
Yeah.
you
know
forget where
that-
I'm from. You forget where I'm from. I'm from Kilbuck, Ohio.
You know that Britain and England tried this a while back, and now they have over 400 million electric cars just sitting dying in fields.
Can I ask you, Paul? I want to see if Paul knows something. I'm going to ask Paul. I'm going to put him on the spot a little bit here. So you ready for this, Paul? Here's a question for you. What is the worst thing about electric vehicles when they come out? What's the absolute worst thing that's probably going to happen? And see if I'm right, especially in like Midwest, Ohio, North Dakota.
Can I
no
answer
place
this
to charge
question?
Go ahead.
Yep.
Andy.
Yep, there's no place to charge them.
Where are you going to charge it?
Well, no. That's not it. You guys are wrong.
Not
The place-
here.
The infrastructure to charge them is being built now. It's happening, right? But the worst thing about them is this: we're going to have tons of accidents in the winter because those babies are real heavy. They're going to go shoo. You hit the brakes. We're gonna have accidents like crazy. They're really heavy, super.
And there's gonna be a lot of dead people that's gonna freeze to death of them things on the highways out here too.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't maintain them.
Kind of like a couple years ago on 95 here in Virginia.
Hey, listen. I'll make a prediction. You guys laugh now, and I'll be the odd one out because I'm totally fine with it. You know that? I'll guarantee you. Let's wait and see. In about 5 years, Paul will be buying a light. You know why? He loves Raven, but he's not going to admit it.
What?
Didn't you?
I like the Raven.
Didn't you shoot a Raven this year?
I did shoot a Raven this year. Yeah, I did.
And you loved it.
I did.
And then he criticized me about the Raven. But then he shoots the thing.
You know,
You
I
shoot,
never
baby.
criticized
You
you
shoot,
about
baby.
it.
Yes, you do. You give me crap all the time
Roll.
about that.
I flagged
Troy,
thrown.
where's Troy? Troy.
Replay. I never criticized it. Yeah,
I'm gonna go
exactly.
back. You never criticized a crossbow? No. Where's Noel?
I'm right here. You know what's funny about Josh? Because he talks about all this high-speed stuff, the Raven and the Lightning and all that other stuff, but then he shoots a whisker biscuit and loses 4 or 5 feet.
Oh man!
Oh
come
my
on,
gosh! Yeah, I do. I
Ridiculous.
do. And you know what happens when I'm? You know what happens when I'm in Newfoundland? That baby stays right where that arrow needs to be. It doesn't flop around.
Hey,
I don't have a problem with it.
I was gonna make Josh over Christmas. I was gonna make him a whisker biscuit award and mail it to him.
I would love it. Here's what I can't figure out. Here's what I can't figure out. Why am I always attacked? But I love it because I sit and I just eat that up. And I'm like, you know what, boys? Wash me because I'll just keep making more decisions. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You
Look
know,
at Paul's eyes. He's like, I don't know where to go from here. What should I do?
you know we were approached by a couple of Whisker Biscuit companies to sponsor us, and I forgot to tell you that I regretfully declined the offer to do so.
It's okay.
'cause-
I can shoot a drop away. I can shoot a drop away. I just don't like them as much. They're fine. I have no problem.
Paul actually gave him $500 to quit calling him.
I did. Yep.
Probably did.
I saw this thing online today, and we were kind of slow in the shop this afternoon. I was scrolling because there's nothing else to do, and this guy spent like all this money on this brand new Matthews lift with all these accessories and the $300 bars, and it was like $4,000 build. And then there's the Whisker Biscuit. He went for the $49.99 Whisker Biscuit.
That's my bow, Paul. I didn't tell you. That's my bow.
It's like buying that nice fancy Ford Lightning of yours and then hanging like one of those air fresheners from the window, you know, those little Christmas tree ones.
I would do that too.
I will say one thing about Josh though, like he has the cleanest vehicle. Like we went, when I was out in Ohio hunting, we went he wanted to show me around, so we were driving around, and then all of a sudden he looks in his rear view mirror and he goes, I see a drop of blood in my bed of my truck. Where were we? In the car wash having a conversation at 9 o'clock at night. So.
I would. Don't you guys agree? Don't you think not to offend anybody at a boat company, but don't you think like the Matthews lift is pretty equitable to like the Ford Lightning? Like they're just all high level, like mythical, beautiful bows, and they're pretty nice bows, right? What do you think, Paul?
I have one, and I like it, and it's not a Ford. Found on Road Dead, fix or repair daily.
As I pass you,
anyway,
listen,
let's move on.
No.
Let's move on.
Put money down. Put money down. Okay, internet world.
You're gonna race my 2,500.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I will absolutely raise you.
Man.
And I'll put it in 4-wheel drive, and I'll get a little Terpsky. Okay, a little Terpsky RPM, and just
here we go.
Launch.
And then I'll tie a chain to the back, and we'll have a pulling competition and see what real men.
Well, I didn't say pull. I said speed, dude.
Speed isn't everything, Josh. You're an archer, aren't you? Speed doesn't matter.
It definitely does.
No, accuracy
speed doesn't matter in archery.
No, accuracy matters.
Actually, the funny thing is, when I was a young guy, hunting, everybody's a young guy wanting speed, right?
He finally said he's old.
That guy. Well, am I the oldest person here?
Hi. Yeah, no, we hear you. You're the only one still rambling on about, electric cars and fast things, and we're losing our audience.
I'm not rambling.
We're losing our audience one by one.
Okay, Paul, lead away. Go ahead, Paul. Lead away. I'll sit in the back.
He's always on the defensive.
What?
Who's on the defensive?
You.
You all are on the offensive all the time. I'm just sitting here chilling, laughing. I don't care. You can come
and give me a hard time, man.
What else don't you like about what I do? Let's see.
We like everything you do.
We talked on the phone for an hour yesterday, and I gave you a hard time on the phone.
You know what? The hardest thing this year for me, and I need to stop talking because Troy needs to jump in here because Troy, I need to see your baby face talk. The Newfoundland cow moose I screwed up. And I admit, it wasn't totally me, but I'm taking ownership because that's what I do, right? I should have used my rangefinder in my pocket. The batteries were going bad. I didn't thrust it. And in that exact moment when I needed to, draw and make the shot, I just didn't even think about the guy being 15 yards behind me when he ranged. And man, I wish I could take it back. I just wish I could.
Whisker Biscuit didn't help on that one.
I heard it smack it though. I just smacked it super high, and that no means. It was a learning experience for me if that moves.
Yeah, well, hey, we've all had learning experiences this year and a little bit of everything. It's been an interesting year, but we're here. We're going through 26 episodes of the Bowmen, and now we're starting off season 2, number 1. Just really heading down the right path here. So love it. So Josh, what's down the road? I know you had an announcement today about pricing on Clovis. Anything else we should expect from you guys coming out of Triple Point this year?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk too much, Troy, when you jump in here, man. I'm serious, but what we're to get serious for a moment, what we're doing right now is we are able to, as a small business, right? And we're a small business, we're a family business, we're not a mega corporation. That's what I like about what we do. It's real, and I'm going to continue being real for everybody as our customers, and I just believe in that. But we're going to increase production and volume, and that allows us to decrease costs a little bit for our consumers. And obviously, everybody knows if you shop at Costco or Sam's Club, if you buy in bulk, you can save a little bit of the total cost because that number goes down at the end, and that price per unit goes down. And so we're going to pass it on to our consumers and our users of Clovis Broadhead. And so we were able to reduce overall costs on the mechanicals, compete with the top mechanicals in the world. We believe thoroughly, and data shows that we've already proven the Broadhead to compete with the top mechanical performance in the world. I'm very happy with what it's doing. We had thousands and thousands of kills this year. It's been a lot of fun. I can't even remember how many animals I got to hunt this year, but it's been a blessing in my life, guys. So I had every dream I could dream in my life I got to do this year. It's been an awesome adventure. So for you guys, I just want to thank all you for allowing me to be part, because I've gotten to have an awesome life this year doing what I absolutely love, which is archery around the world. So I put up that number the other day. I think I traveled 22,000 miles this year. It's a ridiculous number of countries. And I spent 35 hours trying to get back from South Africa this last trip. And, you know, some of it was really rough. And I'll be honest, anybody out there watching us, I hope you guys understand. So here's what I'm going to do for you guys right now. You guys ready for this? You guys attacked me about the whisker business. Here's what I hope everybody out there understands. These guys around me right now, the heart, the work, the energy, and the absolute sheer commitment and love you have to have this industry in this sport to succeed, but not just succeed, but to grow and grow in partners. And I hope everybody out there that, you know, use a close broadhead or listens to the Bowmen or watches Troy's green light or, you know, shoots a halo knock or watches Andy go kill some awesome stuff, understands the passion you have to have for this type of industry. It's a lot, and everybody understands that, I think, sitting here.
Yeah.
And so what we're doing this year is, it's been a lot, but we're rolling out a refurb package to save costs there on replacements, blades and tips. These ferrules are generally going through completely fine. I mean, every once in a while you lose a ferrule or something happens, you want to reuse it. But if it spins good and you want to reshoot it, we're trying to get people to be able to rebuild a broadhead and use it to get those, you know, 4, 5, 6 harvests in a row if they want out one broadhead, and give them the maximum harvest efficiency for the minimum cost of a mechanical broadhead. But at the end of the day, the end thing that Triple Point Outdoors will always be is centered on absolute performance. And so I don't care what broadhead you're shooting. I don't care what broadhead you move to or what broadhead you're coming from. Closed broadhead does almost everything perfectly as designed that we need it to, and it's been performing really, really well for us. So I'm proud of that. And so we're going to roll out the refurb pack, and we got the big cut plus 2 1/4 inch cut coming out that we've already ran through. Like I said, Sable today, I posted. That was a hunt of a lifetime with my friend Andre Spam in South Africa. He actually almost died in a car accident a day or two before. He was there with me in that hunt, and it was an unbelievable hunt. But we're doing a lot of things this year, including a new turkey foot 2 1/4 inch cut coming out. So you guys out there like to hunt turkeys coming up here, might want to take a look at that as well. So
Nice. Excellent.
a lot going on.
That's good news. Forward progression. That's awesome. That's what we like to see. So nice
Yes,
job
sir.
there. Everyone, you know, contributing to the sales of the Clovis. I think we've proven it across the board. So, you know, keep moving through with that. That's awesome. It's great stuff. Great stuff. All right, Troy. Well, you know, so to give us the reason for the shave.
So right now I'm a volunteer firefighter, and they want me to renew some of my certificates. So I'm in a class right now. So 2 nights a week, you know, just like Josh said, and everybody, you know, listening, everybody's busy, you know, I mean, everybody on this podcast, we're all busy. We all got, you know, full-time jobs and then side jobs and then, you know, the things we do for fun and things like this and everything else that we're trying to pursue. You know, yeah, I'm in a class, so I got to be clean shaven. They say the masks don't seal when you're not, but they do. But it's for a class, so going through that. That's for the next too long till like mid-April, 2 nights a week. And those of you that have listened and watched, you know, like all of us, we've got kids and jobs, and so yeah, it's a lot to juggle right now. But just like Josh has already said, you know, we had an amazing 2023. Got to come to Virginia and hunt, got to hunt a bunch of deer here in Ohio. And, you know, it's only bigger and better from here on out. You know, we're doubling down, trying to get better media, get better cameras, get more content, you know, and support the Bowmen podcast and Triple Point Outdoors and everybody involved. Noel over there with Halo Knox. We're trying to get better media for you, and Blade Rain TV. Hopefully we can get together with you guys and do a hunt before too long. And it's just, you know, it's awesome. Like I said this whole time, I'm just blessed to be a part of it and can't believe it, really. But it's amazing. We're going to keep grinding and keep going and see what we can come up with.
Awesome. Yeah, man. I mean, we got a lot lined up this year already. I know we got to get together and link our schedules and all that and find out. But yeah, we got a bear hunt, elk hunt. Josh, you're doing the bison, aren't you? Are you
I'm
gonna do a
working on
bison
it.
hunt? Working
I'm
on bison
working
hunt?
Yeah, I'm working on
Yeah.
bison.
I know Noel and I spoke potentially doing some pig hunting. Yeah, I know Andy, you go everywhere, you know, from mule deer to whitetail to elk to you shoot hogs. What else? You doing any turkey this year?
Dude, turkey, pheasant. I got a lot of pheasant footage this past year shooting pheasant with the bow, so that was pretty cool.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
That would be a challenge.
Yeah.
I grew up pheasant hunting in Kansas, and I don't know about doing
Yeah.
it with bow, but
Dude, it is. I tell you what, man, it's pretty exhilarating. You talking about to get out there and really challenge yourself, dude. That's pretty cool. And we're doing it with dogs. So I mean, instead of having, you know, a firearm, we're just toting tote the bear around and shoot them out the sky. But I mean, it's
Sounds
pretty
fun,
cool,
though.
man.
That sounds
Oh
fun.
yeah, yeah, it's
need
awesome,
a
man.
need an arrow sponsor for that one. I got a feeling that'll be too many. Going back to the truck.
Well, yeah, no, we got and that was the big thing. I know I reached out, Paul. That was kind of part of the reason I'm looking for some more flu arrows, man. I had like 1,000 arrows. I shot them all up, and now I'm looking to now I'm looking to replenish my stock, brother.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep. And I don't know what it is out there, for those of you that don't know, I own a shop here in Culpeper, but all our ordering platforms, like besides the new arrows like Ultra or G5s or, some of the higher end Victories, like everything is out of stock. So I don't know if it's like a carbon shortage or, importing or something like that. It just seems like everything is out of stock. It's also that time of year. You got ATA this week, companies coming out with new products. Are they diminishing their old stock? But it just seems like if I go look up a normal, I don't even know, say you want like a Carbon Express Triad or whatever, out of stock. It's everything. Unbelievable. So I don't have an answer for that, but stay tuned. Hopefully they'll be back in and you'll be able to get the arrows that you need. Awesome. Noel, you're still hunting down there, right?
Yeah, we got a couple weeks left of spike and doe season, and then we have on our MLD lands we go through February 28th, so we got quite a ways to go on that. Still got 30 doe tags, so should be lighting those up pretty soon.
And then the one day you don't hunt, your number 2 buck comes out and haunts you.
I'm just sick about it. It's just just one of those deals when you focus on one deer and then you play the wind, you pay attention to everything, and like you and I talked about the other day with trail cameras. Sometimes people talk about, oh, it's kind of like baiting or whatever, but at the same time you can learn the pattern of these deer, and that's just like with my number 1 buck. Paying attention to. It was the north wind, 8 miles an hour and under is usually when he came in. Barometer pressure was over 29. And, you do all that stuff and you play everything just right. And then, and then you get there and you hunt him hard and nothing happens. You come back home, boom, all of a sudden he's on camera. You're like, okay, now these cameras suck.
Yeah.
The week before they were great because you were able to put a pattern on the deer, but
exactly. Yeah.
My wife always tells me on Sunday, she's like, don't even look at it when your phone goes off to tell you, the deer in there. And I'm like, I'm not anymore. I'm done.
Yeah, I had a buck that I saw preseason come back today, this morning, the one I sent you guys in that picture. Probably like a 140s, 8 wide, a couple inches past his ears, like just out of nowhere. Like, where the hell were you for 4 months? And now all of a sudden, like, you decide to come back. Like, I just don't get it. Unbelievable.
I had that one. I showed you guys a picture of a real big 8, like an up and comer from next year. I showed you some snow about 2 weeks ago. I got, well, my spy point ended up dying. Batteries died a couple of days ago. I knew it was going to happen. I kind of let it go. And so I went down and grabbed it, put new batteries in it. But I think what I'm going to do is I've got like 50 pounds of corn somewhere sitting. I didn't, spread out in the fall at any point in time. So I want to try to get maybe that buck, see if he drops, see if he's still dropping or if he's got carried bow. So I'm going to put the corn out and just put the camera out, just get some pictures to see what's out still, to see if he's coming around. Because I don't understand these deer. I couldn't pattern that really big buck by light shot this year at all, of course. And I had a really hard time altogether. And it's our property, we own it. It seems like it must be like a mostly nomadic transition zone, is what I'm understanding. And if they're there and they're bedded down in the COP and it's tight, they're gonna be there. But if they're not there, they won't be there for me. So it seems to be a transition zone, my property. And I talked to a guy, actually got some broadheads to him today. He's hunting a much bigger buck than my wife even shot, but he saw the deer my wife shot at 70 yards and almost took him. But when he came in, the bigger deer came down and chased him off. So I can't wait to see the size of this deer. I'm hoping he gets him. I'm hoping he harvests him. I think his wife's chasing him, actually. Now, if it's crossbow or compound, don't know. But I can't wait to hopefully see that thing in the ground. And, a lot of guys are like, well, I hope that deer survives till next year and I'll get a shot. I hope to take him. I want to see it. I'm not one of these people where it really cares who shoots the deer. I just want to see the thing and experience the awesome hunt. That's what the benefit is.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of hard too when you hunt in some of the places that we hunt. Like, I can't speak for everyone on here, but I don't have, thousands of acres in one spot to let a, 4.5, 5.5-year-olds, 160 go and say, oh, he'll be 180 next year. And, I can take him. I mean, he's going to stroll over the hill to the neighbors and guess what? The neighbor's there. That deer's going, so it's, you got to kind of pick and choose. And I was talking to someone today, I think they came in the shop, and it's like, it's your tag, it's your trophy, like, enjoy it, take what makes you happy,
That's right.
I shot the buck at Josh's. It was 132 8-pointer, and I thought it was bigger than it was, but the one side was a little bit smaller, and hell, I was happy as hell with that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's you've traveled all these places, you spend all that money, and I mean, like Illinois is just a thorn in the side for me. Like I can't get a deer in Illinois for the life of me. So like I just stopped going for a couple of years. I spent so much money and so much time out there. It's just one of those places. You know, it's hard to spend that money and time and be away from family and come home with nothing. You know,
Yeah.
it makes it a
It
lot
is.
better when you come home with something.
What was even hard for me, I was talking to a gentleman from South Africa today, and I just it's so difficult to understand. I get it, but this guy didn't seem to understand the differences in there versus here are so immense. The animal density is so different. Yes, they have fences, but that doesn't really matter because they're like 15,000 acres of fence, right? It's the differences, the animal density, water holes, the timing of the day they come out, and the fact that we have free range and these whitetail go, everywhere. It's just such a different style of hunting. And I think if you've done both, then you understand. But if you haven't, you wouldn't get it.
No, 100%. It's a total different ball game, and people also don't understand that. Like that buck that showed back up today, like where'd he go for 4 months? Like I have cameras everywhere, like multiple properties around. My neighbors have cameras around. Like we're talking a couple hundred acres probably with cameras and footage and everything, and no one's seen him. So he went far away. And made it through all these seasons, made it through dog season, running dogs and all that around here, and here he is. So wherever he go, whatever hole he crawls into, is a pretty safe one. So they're nomadic, and especially when they're running, they can go 10, 15 miles in a day and be fine with that to try to find something. So especially if there's something bigger that pushes them out, and Josh, you're saying that bigger buck pushed your wife's buck out of there, like,
Yeah, and that had to be a tank. Yeah,
that had to be a tank to do that.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's an interesting story, and I think I don't know if you guys feel this way. Do you guys ever? I mean, I'm going to ask you the question because I think about it. I wonder after you make a harvest. And I don't know if people out there listening to the podcast do this. It'd be interesting if you can give some feedback. I always my first wonder is like when my wife shot that buck and we recovered him and saw him. I walked up on him. I was like, "Holy cow, he's huge," But then my mind always wonders. I want to know that deer's story. How did it get that old? You know what I'm saying? How did that deer? He's at least 5. And I'm not going to say I know his exact age because I didn't look at the teeth. I didn't analyze the teeth. We will. Okay, he's at the tax service, but I want to know that deer's story. Like, where'd he bed? Where'd he live? Where'd he go, Paul? Right? Like, why? I want to know the why, and it's kind of hard at that point because he's on the ground dead. And
Yeah.
so I think out of my sheer respect for the hunt and the animal, you kind of want to go the threadbare way and say, hey, let's respect this animal's life. Let's respect the hunt. But I wish I could know. But at that point, it's too late. You can't know. So hopefully you have those. Now what I'm getting is those stories. I'm getting the people popping up saying, hey, I hunted that deer 2 miles away and look at these trail cut pictures. And so finally I get a little bit of that story background. But I actually feel a little sad about this deer my wife shot because as enormous as he was, number one, we didn't know it was him when he stepped out because he broke off the bottom drops in about a week and a half. I knew he was enormous. I just didn't know it was him when she shot him. But then the second thing is I don't know his story. For some reason, that kind of bothers me because I usually with deer, well, I won't say with Tater, I don't know his story either. He just showed up. But most of these deer I shoot, I don't really know the full story because I never really got into cams until this year.
And that's one of those things, unless you're, growing them on properties and letting them go and have sheds and find their sheds and find where they're at and walk around, you really don't know their story, and it's hard. It's not easy. But now's the time of year to figure out that story because you're going to start dropping antlers here. I know they started here in Virginia, not on my property yet, but I've seen a lot of pictures, people finding sheds. And typically it doesn't happen till like March, but it seems like some are starting early out there. I don't know if it's weather or lack of water this year in this area. It was a very dry year, so who knows? But start keeping those cams out, put your mineral out there, and get these deer ready for next year. Andy, in the off season here, I know you're in a little bit different climate and weather and all that stuff. What do you do in the off season do you do anything near you to kind of, keep the deer healthy? I know you get bad winters and stuff like that. What's kind of your tactics in the off season here?
All basically, I feed pretty much all year. We got about all in all between the two properties, we got about 18,000 acres that we can hunt. But unfortunately, you can't buy enough equipment to be able to feed
Yeah.
everybody in every corner. So
Exactly.
we basically, I run cameras 24/7, 365 days a year, and just find out where those hot core spots are where the deer are mainly concentrating in the winter at, and they spend a lot of their winters. But and it's kind of weird because the diversity that we got, even though we have a mixture of mule deer and whitetail, in the winter months, or the whitetail, I don't know where they go because I haven't been able to figure that quite out yet. But I think they go more to the thicker cover in the river bottoms to where we do have the more thick cover. And the mule deer, they tend to hang out on the river as well, but they get into a little bit, lighter breaks where just to be able to get out of the wind. So in those spots is where we just typically set up and try to maintain and feed the deer that we have and that we're keeping a tally on. But that's really about all I can do. If we have bad winters and we get a couple blizzards and we can't get out, to feed, we just try to feed them in the spots that we can get to. But that's kind of what we do. A lot of ground that we hunt is farmland, so we rely on a lot of the ag to take care of them up to that point.
Yeah, it's hard when you got big properties like that. Smaller ones tend to be easier. You're just attracting them into that area, but you're talking tens of thousands of acres. There's only so much you can do.
Well, we get so many mule deer that comes through that typically don't live on the properties that we hunt. They'll come in different times of year and they're in and out. Because what's crazy is if I can get in earlier in the year, as soon as the season opens, I can get a nice whitetail. But once our season opens about 2 weeks in and you don't get one, you won't get a whitetail because they just disappear, man. And I was like, Josh, I just wish I could know the story behind that and where they go and what they're doing. But yeah, it's really weird. I think what I'm gonna do, man. Have you guys heard about the? I can't think of the guy's name, but it's Mike. He's doing that drone deer recovery stuff that's out there.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
been kind of keeping up with him, and I've been looking into getting one of those to try to see in the off seasons where you can kind of go out, kind of see where a lot of these deer are hanging out, how far away from the properties and where at, so try to get an idea. I mean, of course, I can't remember which drone that is or which one they're using, but that night vision or that thermal imagery they got on that stuff, man, you can zoom right in. You can kind of you can see exactly what you're looking at out there, which is pretty cool. But those kits are pretty expensive, like 15 grand, man, for one of those things.
Wow.
Yeah, for the good one. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for the good one. I mean, I think it's I mean, for me, and I know you guys out there this time of year when you don't have any leaves on the trees, I think it'd be a good tool that's in your toolbox. But I also see some bad things coming down the pipe with that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I don't know. I know there's a lot of controversy over it. It's just like everything else we do. I mean, we're the stewards of our lands, and we're going to do what's right. You got the ones that out there that's not going to do the right things, but they'll get caught.
Yeah, you'll get that one guy walking out there with a radio, and the other guy flying the drone. Go to the right.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Go to the right.
Yeah.
He's 200 yards away. Crawl.
Well, and that's going to make it. And that's and I mean, it being a tool in our toolbox to be able to use. I mean, yeah, the world's getting high tech, and some of these things. I mean, I look back when I was a kid. It's just like, man, I was just thankful to be able to take the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and go out and be able to hunt. And we didn't know what we were hunting, man. We just grabbed a rifle or the bow or the shotgun, and we just went out and we just sit down by a tree, because we didn't have tree stands and ground blinds and all this other stuff. But but at some point you ask yourself, it's like, is all this technology too much? I don't know the answer to that. I know it's great in a lot of ways, but I think in a lot of ways it's making us lazy as hunters.
Oh yeah. Well, we lose a lot of the natural instinct in doing it, right? Like the sportsman, the spot and stalk, when's the last time someone just went outside and started creeping through the woods, and slowly walking and looking for something, after, and I'm not talking going on a guided hunt and you find something and, you go after it, but like leaving from your front door and just walking and going out. I can't say I have in forever. And, I love running trail cameras and I love the technology. I love getting into it. It's expensive to keep up with it, but there's times where I feel like I'm a lot lazier in hunting because of that. Like you don't go out because you haven't seen anything on camera in 3 weeks. Like, why am I going to waste my time? Right. And, then there's those times like today, like I haven't seen anything on my camera in 2 weeks. Now all of a sudden this buck shows up. If it was hunting season, I would have never been out there, especially in that one spot. I would have never been there. I would have been somewhere warm. Like I wouldn't have been there.
Right.
So what does that do for everybody else? I don't know, but there's plenty of times where I miss the mystery of it, I guess you can say. And I know we spoke about this on the cast before, and that's why I love hunting new areas. Like I love going out into Ohio and hunting with you guys. Like I love going out to Utah and elk hunting because you don't know what's there. Like, you know,
No.
I love going to different places and just being like, yeah, they can show you pictures and all this stuff, but it makes you
Yeah.
just want to go, you know, and
Well, you
that's
know, Paul, the biggest thing is, man, what I've noticed about like even like with the wholesale trail camera thing, you know, I mean, we can pattern our deer, and you know, on certain times of year, we know when and where they're going and where they're going and how they're coming and where they're moving to. But a lot of times when those cameras are not going off, the deer could be right there. They're just not walking to where
You're
the
right.
camera's at.
You are
You know,
absolutely right.
and until we get out there, I have, because I think all of us on here are probably pretty guilty. What do? We pick up that cell phone and we're just looking and we look and look and look and look and we go, we're rating on the right moment instead of just taking a chance on it. The wind's right. Let's go climb in the stand. Let's just see what happens, because I have found a majority of the time that the cameras are not always telling you the story, brother.
oh yeah,
Yep.
100%. We know that.
Yeah.
We
Well,
know
I think like
that.
anything too. Don't you guys agree? I think there's just so much. I see it every day. I think this is part of the controversy we can bring up. We can have some connections to and make it improved. I think and here at Bowman, I see like on some of the pages I follow, just absolute shaming going on between hunters and what, you know. Again, we brought this up
Oh,
earlier.
man.
What they shoot, why you're shooting it, what you're shooting it with. You know,
Yeah.
here's my statement from Triple Point Outdoors. I'll make it now as the president of the company. If it is, and this is my personal, this is for me, moderation, everything, right? You know that. Like one of my golden rules is moderation. I don't care if it's all is legal. If it's legal within bounds, I don't care what weapon you're shooting your animal with. If it's the illegal weapon to shoot that pushes that animal with, right? I don't care if you bait. If it's legal to bait, it doesn't matter to me. It's your personal decision. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, whatever you harvest, enjoy that harvest. Because quite honestly, the biggest thing I enjoy is the stinking meat. I mean, I'll be honest. I love a good trophy like any other hunter on the planet. But at the end of the day, moose meat that Paul got up there in Newfoundland was probably the best meat I have ever had. That's just my feel. I mean, I don't care what people do. Keep it legal, keep it right, keep it fun, keep it adventurous, and don't be a-holes. I'm sorry, I'm not say the whole word, but don't be a-holes to other hunters, because we just rip each other apart, you know, and it hurts the whole
Yeah.
industry. Hurts the whole industry.
Yeah, for sure, Josh. You're dead on, man. Everybody's got to stick together, and we're all in this together. I mean, are we going to fight one another to the end? Everybody's the ones that want to take this away from us. They're going to use it against us, because we're all just like as a country. If we can't be united, we're going to be divided, brother, and it's not going to be good. for
Especially
sure.
when there's so much going against us as there is, you know, just being sportsmen and hunters and outdoorsmen, and you know, and we happen to do 90% of it with archery, if not more, talking into guns and all that. Like, it's pretty
Well,
bad out there right now.
I'll
So
tell you one statement I had said to me this week, and obviously there's no names involved because I don't know the person. Well, I do know the person was, but I didn't take it to heart because I understood where it come from. But this person made the statement, you know, toward me directly. Hey, you know, Miller, you are nothing but a cold-hearted killer with your broadheads, killing all these animals. I wish I could sit down and have a beer with this guy. You know what I'm saying? I wish I could sit down and have a beer, because if we had a conversation over dinner or a beer, I could then explain. You know, what affected me was I know how I feel right after I harvest an animal. How do I feel? I feel remorse. You know why?
Yeah.
I took a life of an animal. I think for an ethical hunter, if you don't feel remorse, it's probably a problem for that person. My opinion is, right. I'm not judging others, but person didn't know was, you know, the reason why we hunt so much is, well, I happen to own a broadhead company. That's our business, right? So in the entire design of the close broadhead, it's literally meant to do one thing. And that is perform, but not for me. Perform to get the animal on the ground in the least amount of time, in the least amount of distance, in the most ethical way possible. So I wish I could just talk to him, because sometimes I think that open conversation doesn't exist. And I would put it out there for anybody on the planet. If you're listening to the Bowman podcast, email me, call me, maybe not at 3 a.m, but email me, call me. Let's have an open discussion. I will talk with anybody. If you're an if you're a hunter, if you eat tofu, if you eat nothing but moose meat every day, call me. We'll have a chat. I'm open to it. You know, I think that's what we need more of, honestly.
we also do it to ourselves as a hunting community, because we always try to be this pompous, big, you know, like, oh, I'm the best bow hunter, I shoot biggest deer, or look at me, I'm out in 40
But that's
degree
because
cold and your
but
butt's
Paul,
on the couch doing nothing.
but
Like,
stop, but
we do it as a
Paul,
community.
but those people that do that, you can see right through them. Those guys
Yeah.
really don't know what they feel and don't know how they feel about it.
Yeah.
Don't probably feel great about themselves. What they're doing is they're projecting attacks on everybody else. And I just sit back and go, like the gentleman that I had that happen to me, I actually kind of felt bad for him because he didn't actually understand through ignorance what we're doing and why. And I wish I could explain that to him, because that guy might sit down and go, hey, okay, I understand why you're feeding the family, you're watching population, you're helping, the environment. I mean, people need to listen to each other.
100%. No, I get it. I feel the same way. I just, there's so much out there, that I think we could do different as a community, like just look at it. We spoke about it a little bit on the couple casts before the end of the year. There's like losing archery in schools. What about fencing? Why don't you take fencing away? Like, what is all this stuff? Like, granted, it's funding, right? And then a lot of it is people flexing their political views and all that, but archery has done nothing in schools but bring people together and give kids that may not have enough something to look forward to. It's like, shit, we can't even play dodgeball in school anymore. Like, I used to live for pegging people in the head with a ball. Like, it gave you that
Absolutely.
opportunity to get back at that person, like, or whatever, and you can't even do that anymore. I don't know.
Well, thankfully that program was reinstated. I think they actually inadvertently didn't fund that, and I think it was a real mess by the government. And thankfully they had some brains and people got that reinstated, because I was actually part of the NASA program in school.
Oh, really?
Teacher trained to help kids understand, draw length and how to shoot a bow, and we did all the training on NASP and got into our gym. And the guy that was a PE teacher loved it, and our kids loved it, our students loved it. And I admit I didn't do a ton with it, he did. But just to see those kids fall, like you said, maybe that kid's not like a super football star, or lacrosse star, or wrestling star, right? But that kid is going to stay out of trouble and stay out of drugs and stay out of incarceration, because that kid likes to go out and send an arrow down range. And I would put my money on that all day to get kids out of trouble. Change his life.
Well, they may have reinstated it, but it's not back in our schools. We still have locked up gyms and stuff full of bows and arrows and stuff that these kids can't use. So it's just sad. Sometimes you can push and you can push and you can try, but like Andy said, it takes all of us on a united front in order to get it done. So hopefully we can do something about that moving forward. Changing gears here a little bit. Troy, update us a little bit on this first form search you got going on. What's going on with this? Did you make it to the top 10 of the challenge? They didn't announce it yet?
Not yet. They're just wanting us all to lose sleep. I know I'm right there. The second and third weeks I finished 9th overall, and then the last week I finished, I think it was like 7th overall. I'm right there, like looking at the statistics and looking at the numbers, and depending on how they score certain things, I got to be like 10th, 11th, 12th, something like that, right in that range. So we'll see whenever they announce it. Just over here waiting, just trying to be patient.
Yeah. It's another one of those we'll wait till after the ATA show.
Yeah.
Comment. If I hear that one more time.
I think it's kind of, which some of you, some of you gentlemen that have seen some of these things, I guess, come and go. I think that's another thing, kind of, you guys were talking about archery in the schools, and we've talked a bunch before about the big names, if you will. Nothing against any of the big names, but people are going away from that. Everybody wants something real. Not all of us can go out and shoot a 200-inch buck. We would love
Josh's wife.
We would all love to, but the reality of it is, that's a once in a lifetime animal for most people, and a lot smaller than that are once in a lifetime animals for everybody else. So we just go out and hunt and enjoy it and learn and everything else. But there's a lot of I guess what I would have considered not necessarily in the hunting industry coming into it. Say First Form Outdoors has this First Form, their products, the company itself is a protein supplement company, things like that, but they're branching out into the outdoors because it's a space that, like, the common man, if you will, there's a whole generation of us that are looking for something to group up together again. And just like Andy said, coming together, I think a lot of these bigger companies that are out just outside of, say, hunting are seeing that, are seeing there's a bunch of people out there that want to have something to stand together with. And these companies like First Form, they're growing their First Form Outdoors programs. They're going on hunting trips. They're sponsoring these archery events like the one I was in, the November Knockdown Challenge. Everything's shifting and changing, and like it always does, but it's kind of going away from the celebrities, if you will, is all I'm trying to say. I feel like there's a big shift away from the one or two names that everybody knows, and they're going more towards a group of people, or what are you a part of, that can help the community?
And I think a lot of that has to do with obviously TV ratings being down, exposure being more streaming and socially driven, but also YouTube and Carbon TV and all that stuff on those platforms expanding. And also, guess what? It's friggin' expensive to pay some of these people. I mean, you get some of these companies out there payrolling a lot of these people when you have Joe Schmo on YouTube who's got 37 videos and they're all better than the guy that's on TV. So it's definitely expanded the basis of it. But it's expensive. Everything's on a budget. I mean, our economy is, just my opinion, and it's crap right now. Everything's expensive. Groceries are expensive, gas is expensive, and now less people have expendable income. So I own an archery shop. Like, they're not buying as many bows as they did a couple years ago or whatnot, or their products are kind of the same. So they're staying with what they have. There's no reason to upgrade. And then their sales are down. So guess what, Mr. Celebrity? Like, you've been here for 20 years, but thank you for what you did. But we can't have 20 of you doing that. So that's where the exposure of the younger generation coming out, is where it's going to take over. But we also got to be careful with that too, because it can just doing it for a while. It takes a lot to stay passionate about it. And this industry is about passion, right? And people want to see the real you, and then the reality of everything and the realness of it. And then when you get in front of a camera for a long period of time, it kind of sucks the life out of you for a little bit, and then you end up taking long breaks. And then before you know it, you're left in the wind because you took a long break because you got burnt out. Technology changed, relationships changed, people aren't at these companies anymore. And then boom, and that's how it happens. Having more and more people under an umbrella, and Andy and we all spoke about this a while ago, like it comes back to joining together in this industry. And if big groups or smaller groups don't join together to grow, like, it's tough to do by yourself consistently and at a caliber that is needed to be successful. Because you can't just walk in and say, I'm going to be in the archery space or the outdoor space or the hunting industry or the fishing industry or whatever, and say, I'm going to be successful at it. Like, it's a slow roll, man.
Yes,
It's
it is.
it is tough to get in. It's a very, very small group that's there, and it's ever expanding. And then you have the pressures of not only financial, but then you have the pressures of the political on top of it, and hunting and all that, and licensing and, access. And the more and more exposure there is out there for people to watch, yes, it does grow our industry and it does grow us as individuals and companies, but it also shrinks the platform to have the ability to do this. And by that, I mean, less people give access, right? Because they want it to themselves. Less people let you walk through their property to go to another property. Less people let you get that deer that you shot that died on their property, right? It's that's the reality of it. That's how a good friend of mine, I call him my brother, he shot a 170 something inch deer in Illinois. The buck he was way on the right side of the property that he was hunting on. Everything was good. It was a little far back, ran farther than anyone would have expected, and called the game warden, whatever, went there. The guy said, no, I watched this buck all year on my camera. He's mine now. What are you going to do with this deer?
Yeah, how do you
put it on the
feel good
wall
about that?
and say that you shot it? Like,
What
what is going to happen? He wouldn't give him the deer back. And the game warden's like, it's the law here. If it dies on his property, that's his. He doesn't have to give it to you. But talk about a insert explicit here. Like, that's the reality of some things, because they just want that trophy. So you're gonna take some kid's dream away, for being selfish. But whatever.
My wife took my dream away. My wife took
Yeah.
my dream away.
Noel, you're quiet,
I agree.
man. What's going on?
Hey, can I say something real quick? I want Noel to talk, but I can say one thing. This in response to you, Paul. Is that right?
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say, from a standpoint of marketing and return on investment, obviously, in sales, as far as moving the needle, been having some real conversations with people in the industry. It's been fascinating to me to learn, being a new business coming in, right? And I hope I'm like a sponge. I like to soak up things from people around me, and then I make decisions and move forward ourselves. But as far as what things move the needle, from my perspective, what I can glean from now is, for me, Turbo Point, what moves the needle for me are real people, are my customers. That's what moves the needle. Because when they buy the Clovis, I'm not selling them stuff saying, hey, go do this that I'm telling you it's going to do that it won't do. It's going to do it and plus more. And when those customers shoot the broadhead and they prefer it, and they like it, and they appreciate what it did, they're going to tell their buddies, right? And it dendritically spreads for me. And that's how we're growing. I mean, the needle moves the best for me by being real and having real customers and them using the dang product and going, I like it. And that's for me, put all the money in marketing you want, get flashy cameras, get great camera angles, spend half an hour for one picture. Okay. For me, there's a time and money balance here. And while we're going to make content, the best content I've ever seen comes from my customers. When they feed me back stuff, they go, check this hole out, check this out. I'm like, awesome, you had a good harvest. So I just want to tell everybody out there from my end, I appreciate the real.
Awesome. And I agree. I mean, it's that's what moves the needle, especially in this industry nowadays, whether you're selling a product or you're selling yourself or you're selling an image or you're selling a video or whatever, or a thought and ideology, it's real. Like people see through the gimmicks now.
Yes.
And
but also growing in partnership. You hit the nail on the head there. Growing in partnership. If I can't do this myself, there's no way Josh Miller and his family at Triple Point could run a company like this without having you awesome guys around me and all the support network we have. I just want to thank people for that, because what you guys don't see, or these customers maybe the podcast don't hear all the time, is like, we value you, we need you, because you're the people that grow the company or actually allow us to produce broadheads and have fun hunting. So that partnership for us is huge as a company.
Absolutely. And you also got to remember people out there, like if you go and you buy a product, I don't care if you're shooting, Josh's broadhead or you're shooting Iron Will or whatever, like it doesn't kill the animal for you, right? You still have to be a good archer, you still have to be a good sportsman, you still have to make a good shot. Like I had someone come in my shop and was like, I shot 3 deer with this broadhead and I haven't found one of them. Like, okay, where'd you shoot it and what happened? Well, I don't know. Well, what do you mean you don't know? Like, would you shoot it in the foot, like in the neck, what happened? Did you not even look for it? Like, what's going on?
Well, you know what I find the most interesting? I don't even know what I was going to say here, but I think I find the most interesting is that the dendritic network of people that come together, there's a common understanding where it's like you can almost feel someone's vibrations as to like why are they doing what they're doing. I think when you feel those positive vibrations, you're out there hunting together. It's like you and I and Troy, we hunted all fall together, right? Yep. One of the best hunts I had all fall was the first hunt of the year where you're behind me in your saddle, which I still don't understand, because I would get myself all tangled up like some weird, bondage thing or something crazy. I don't know, but I can't do the saddle. I just can't do it. But
the good thing about us chubby kids is we just can't do it anyway, so we don't have to worry about it.
Wait, when you say us, Paul, who do you mean?
Andy, Noel,
me. So
hey,
I just want to.
Hey, there's just too much, Josh. We got too much junk in the trunk, brother. We can't do it, man.
I hear you.
Dude, I'll break. I could see me up there in the tree in a saddle. I'd do it just for Troy, but I'd probably break my neck, man.
I would do it too. I don't know how he did. You know what he did? You know what he did, Andy? He climbed up the tree beside my stand, and that stand's on the tree, and he made it. I don't know how he did. I don't know how you did it, Troy. He's in the tree behind me. I'm like, dude, you want to climb another tree? Nope, I got this. He's like, whoop. Like, where'd you come from?
I've said it before. I have no idea what, podcast or whatever. I've said it a bunch, or when I talk to different people, but that's one of the things I think, looking forward, I guess, for myself, obviously with the Bowmen and everything else, but trying to do more partnership style hunts or trying to do more learning style hunts with, anybody really, but especially someone who hasn't gone. But that's what I tell everybody. And like you were saying, Josh, you can feel when you go hunting with somebody, and you all understand that there may have been guys or girls or whoever you've hunted with in the past, and they may be a great hunter, but you go with them and it just doesn't feel right. Maybe their heart's not in it for the right reasons, or maybe they're just having a bad day that day, and that's fine too. But there's also those times you go with somebody and you're like, I mean, for me, it's
Game
like you look at them. Yeah, you look at them and you're like, I'll climb the tree or whatever, and you're like, oh, he's tuned in, or you're walking through the woods and they're pointing they're pointing that out, and they're hearing things that you haven't, you're not hearing it, and you're like, oh wow, like this is somebody to pay attention to. This is somebody to learn from, good, bad, or indifferent. that you're going to pick things up. And that's what I've said it before on here, you know, whether you are for hunting or against hunting, if you just go with me, you know, even if we don't harvest something, if you just go with me and just take that opportunity to soak it all in, just nature itself, you know, like that day, you know, in Virginia, I had 2 days to hunt. And, you know, we had a good buck on camera, and we had a good plan for it, and it would have worked. It would have worked 9 times out of 10. It would have worked just fine. For whatever reason, he might have been laying up on the hillside watching me come down every time, but he wasn't coming out. And that's just, you know, experience, a little bit of intuition, a little bit of whatever you want to call it, you know, just being young and just saying, I'm going to move up to the creek and I'm going to hunt where I feel is good. And it worked out great. But those are those things, you know, that you learn along the way. Yeah. And if you get to experience that with someone, it'll change you. You know, you'll always remember how they showed you this or how they showed you that. And then next thing you know, somewhere down the road, you catch yourself saying, well, hey, do it this way because of, you know, Andy showed me this, or, hey, no, climb the tree and sit this way because I was hunting one time and Josh did this and it came this, you know.
Yep.
All those little things. And I think that's what's really going to build, you know, not only us, but build the industry, is bringing back that real side of, you may not harvest nothing, you know, you may not have a great hunt, quote unquote, great hunt, but you take all those little intangible things in and you have them forever, you know?
Absolutely. I do have a request though, you know, for this year. Can you please put that first step lower? Because man, it was like, oh my God, like that video of your son trying to get up in that stand. That was me trying to get in that stand. I literally I got to the Langon, you left, and like I'm tying up my bow and I'm getting ready to go up, and I grab the stick and I go to pick my leg up. Well, I couldn't even get my leg high enough to step on the first step to get up there. And I'm like, oh, what the hell am I going to do? Did he stand on a log? Am I missing something? Is one of these sticks missing?
I kind of jumped.
After like 5 minutes, you know, and, you know, me being overweight at the time, like I had to literally hold on, grab my leg with my other hand, my pant, lift my pant up, and now I'm like this. Hang on. Then I had to pull myself forward. Now the thing.
I got a question.
Now I'm like this.
I got a question. This is Paul. I'm gonna bounce off you for a minute, because Paul, you ever have this happen where Paul, I'm gonna bounce off you here? You ever try to get to that first step and you're lifting your leg clear up there, and you hear something go rip in your pants, you wonder what the heck just happened?
Yeah. Yep.
You're like, did my pants just blow out the back? That's not good.
Oh yeah, that happened. That was actually my grandfather's funeral. It happened to me. Yeah. And I was the pallbearer. I had to carry one side of the coffin with a big rip down my suit. His last laugh towards me, I guess. But
we had a good laugh when Hunt Tech was here from South Africa. Came over with us. You guys were here. We hunted whitetail, right? And I had to laugh because I gave Johan a grunt call, right? And Johan had never used one before. And I'm in the stand Paul was in, and I'm sitting there, and he goes, "Now how do you do it?" I said, "Well, you know, give her good." And he's waiting. Shoot you, baby. All right. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, "Oh, this will be good, right?" And Johan's gonna laugh when he hears this. He'll love it. But he goes, "How do I use it?" I said, "Well, just give her a few grunts here and there, and 10 grunts, and maybe a long one, just at a time. You know, half an hour, starts to get dark." Yeah. And I hear this like bleating death. Like, I don't know what the heck it was, right? And so I'm like texting. I'm like, "Johan, what are you doing to call?" He's like, "Well, I'm sucking on it, but I don't hear anything." And I'm like, "Dude, how about you blow into it a little bit?" And then he's like blowing too hard, and it's going blah. And it was like, but you know what?
And he wonders why I didn't see anything.
But here's what's cool. About that. At the end of the day, like we're having this good laugh, and he didn't know what end to blow it, and so I didn't tell him it was my fault for not explaining it, but you know what? I thought he would, know, and he didn't know. But we had a good laugh at the end of the day, and I'll tell you, that's a memory that we carry with us, going forward. And that just really, to me, it's just those are the moments. Forget about harvesting the big deer, right? Forget about harvesting whatever big animal you shoot. Those are the things that stick in my brain, and I remember down the road, and I get to remember that hunt.
I remember you on the grunt call in your backyard. We're like, "Oh, look, there's a buck coming. Let's see if we can get with the grunt call." Here, Josh goes.
I was overly excited.
He looked at me and he goes, "What?" I'm like, does that actually work out here? He's like, fine, you do it. Got all mad, stomped away.
I got a little worked up, Paul. I had to give him a little something. I was trying to reach out there, you know.
Oh shit!
That's
Oh
funny.
god, that was funny. He's like, all right, grunt, this is gonna be good. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Oh yeah, you guys never want to see Paul and I hunting together because it's an absolute cluster. We're
Oh,
just
we can't. No,
it's
we can't do
unbelievable.
it.
It's unbelievable.
It's the funniest
so
thing
fun.
in the world.
It's so fun.
If we ever had to sit in a tent together, I think we would die.
Oh,
we wouldn't be able to do it.
we probably burn it down actually.
Yeah. But no, that's what it's made of. The memories, the laughs, the experiences out there. That's what keeps this all going. But we got more of that coming this year. We got who starts it off, I think, this year. Well, Josh, if you do the bison hunt, you'll start that off.
Well, actually, it'll be spring turkey probably first.
Well, spring turkey first,
Spring turkey.
yeah. Andy, our elk season's early out there, isn't it? Like mid-August.
Yeah, it's right at the end of August. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I
Yeah.
go into it end of August as well in Utah, and then I come back and we have first weekend of September. Troy and I are going up to New York for a bear hunt. We're doing that. We'll introduce them to Yogi and his friends.
Yeah, I
out
can't
there.
wait for that. That's gonna be exciting.
Right behind that shoulder, baby. Smoke it.
Yep.
Give it our best
Center
shot.
Center
Black,
mass.
they have thin skin, don't they, Paul? That broadhead I shot on one, they just blew right through. But opposite shoulder, but a big hole coming out.
Every black bear I shot was with a 55 grain rocket. Went 20 yards and died. Put it right behind the shoulder.
55 grains.
55 grains, man. 70-pound bow. Carbon Express Maxima 350. Back when I'm 40 now, so that was 18, 20, and 22. That I got my 3. And yeah, man. That's it. That's all it took. Never went 20 yards.
Wow.
So remember, they have big, they have their lungs and their vitals are a little bit farther back. So, you have a little bit of variance there between right behind that crease and center mass. There's good variety there. But they, if you take the lungs out of them, they can't. They take that one last suck, and then that's it. They can't go anywhere. But it's pretty. Two things. One, I've never seen a big black bear, like 400 or 500 pounds, curl up in the smallest ball ever. They get into like balls that like are this big. Like when they die, and if they go into somewhere thick, they like roll up into this ball. It's the weirdest thing. And then I've not heard of anyone. So that whole death moan thing, maybe it's just where we hunt and where we are. I've never heard one do that ever in all the bear I've been a part of killing, and it's probably tens, if not 20s in numbers. Never heard that. And you have more time than you think with them when you're hunting them. They're very curious, so they will. They don't get skittish very often because they're the biggest thing there. What the hell's gonna, nothing's gonna scare them away. And even like you can flail your arms and move, and they, unless you get them by surprise, like they just kind of look at you, and they'll probably come close to you to try to see what you are at that point.
Or you got a 400-pound one in front of you, and you got a flashing GoPro red light. The thing sees it, and I'm like, oh.
Well, I don't know what bear y'all hunt, but I ain't had that experience, brother.
You didn't.
Well, you have brown and grizzly. We're different.
Like them black bears in the mountains in Idaho, son. I'm telling you, they have whooped me upside down that mountain, down the other. Like it's last year. I tell you what, I put in more time last year. Well, not in 23. That was in 22. I put more time in hunting black bear than I did anything else, and I had 2 encounters. Those are very long stories, but those bear in those mountains in Idaho, either I just bring a bad presence when I come into the woods, or I stink. One of the two.
Yeah. Well, that's a
They're-
different type of bear. I mean, where we are, it's the biggest wetlands in New York State, and it's really on the border of Pennsylvania as well. So it's a main breeding ground, thoroughfare. So you're sitting in thick pine swamp, and you're waiting for them to walk by. And you're on a main trail. They live there. They come there all the time. They're walking to the neighbor's dumpster or garbage can to eat out, or the local guy's apple tree, or Joe Schmo left his lunch out on the curb, and that's what they're going for. There's a lot of camps up there in the summertime. So they're in and out of the garbages and all that stuff. So you just get on some main trails, and honestly, like where it's big woods, it's deep swamps, but they're so exposed to people from where they're eating all the time. Like they're not harvesting, grazing on berries or mountain laurel or any of that stuff. I mean, they're eating apple orchards, garbage, and they're eating the oil out of the pizzeria shop in the backyard. Like, they're going 20 miles to go do that. Like that's what they're doing. So the archery state record back in 2010, 2008, I don't know if it's been beaten yet, but it was 804 pounds was taken off of our property and or our hunting camp property up in New York, where we were just offside of it, just on the other border of it. So they can get my dad shot one that was 408 pounds gutted. So, 450, 460 on the hoof. All mine were over 350 pounds. I mean, they get an average bear is in the twos. That 200 to 300 pound range is pretty consistent. You see them a lot. And when a big one comes in because the little ones are out early. If you're sitting there and it's 3 o'clock and a little one comes out, just let it go. Because I guarantee you, if he's coming out for a reason, Mr. Big is going to be coming out right before dark. But we have video of my dad's bear because it had a bad limp coming in and a bear chasing him clear away. And he's a 450-pound bear. So the bear had to be, 600-700 pounds, just big boar. So they can get, it's rare to see a 700-800 pounder, but literally they're Volkswagen Beetles coming through the woods. That's what they look like. They're huge. But yeah, 200 to 300 pounds is probably the average in that range. So
that's cool. I guess I need to experience that kind because the bear between Idaho and Washington, they don't like to play fair.
yeah, they're probably more skittish. They're not exposed to people. They're up in that mountainside, and unfortunately they're not the biggest predator out there. They're a big predator. They're not the biggest, and they're grazing on berries and all that, so they have a little bit rougher go about it. Where these guys are fat and lazy. So yeah, biggest.
I won't be throwing any of those over my shoulder and walking out with them.
Nope. You can some of them you can. They're a lot softer on the skin than that deer was. But yeah, just make sure you haven't really, puckered too much until you've walked up to a dead black bear for the first time and try to, poke it to see if it's still alive.
Yeah.
There's, that theory, don't poke the bear.
doubt.
Like I know where it came from.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a scary one. But even when it's dead, it's a scary one at first. It's like, all right, you do it.
Yeah.
I'll be over here. But yeah, and then we get into whitetail season, and then it's off to the races, and who knows what happens there. So got a lot of good stuff coming down the pipe. Noel, you've been quiet tonight, man. Like
I've been listening to you guys.
You just trying to build your new laptop there, install all your programs, and
No, that's all done.
Well, that's
hopefully
good.
we can get on a hog hunt this spring.
That'd be nice.
Started off that way even before turkey season.
Down there in like South Texas or
Sweet.
Yeah, we're gonna try to look at something.
Yeah, man. I'll bring a couple dozen arrows with us, and we'll just let them have it. We're doing the first annual squirrel massacre this weekend at my house. So if any of you, well, one of you have hunted my place, but if you don't know, there's like 27-pound gray squirrels, and you see about 40 of them at any given time. So me and my son are going to take a couple dozen crap arrows from the shop and shoot our bows, try to do a squirrel extermination.
Get to slinging, huh?
We might need some more Clovis broadheads by the time we're done, Josh. Just to let you know.
that first area I climbed up in, there's squirrels everywhere there. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
you got plenty of targets.
Oh yeah.
It's been a long time since it's been a while since I squirrel hunted. I used to do it all the time back in high school, field goal 22,
Yeah.
growing up. But it's been a long time since I gray squirrel hunted. Did some box squirrel.
No, I
I
haven't.
think unofficially I have the first kill with a Clovis this year, right? On that
I think
possum?
you smoked it.
on that possum
Yeah.
night before last.
Possum stew. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
That
first.
thing-
Unofficially, I don't know. Somebody else might have, but
I don't. Well, it may have been a doe or something. I have to go back and look, but I'm sure you shot the first possum of the year, Noel. That's for sure.
Did you eat them?
oh no. Like I
No.
told you, I may be redneck, but I'm not that redneck.
Things aren't that tight down there.
Yeah.
I have my limits on what I ingest. There you go.
Yeah.
But
It's funny. Paul told me before I went bear hunting in Newfoundland. He's like, now I got to tell you, he's like, you'll never hear a bear come in. And I was like, oh, he's just butterscotch me. I got to hear something come in, right? I know there's a lot of moss there, a lot of sphagnum moss, and it's real, soft. But that 400-pound bear, literally, Paul, I thought of you when he popped out because I was like, oh my god, like it was like just getting dim and poof, he was there. I was like, he is enormous. I'll be honest, it scared the
so
crap
that's
out
what
of
you
me.
say about me when I walk in the room. You think about me, thanks. Holy crap, this guy's enormous.
And you walk so soft.
Thanks,
you walk so
Josh.
soft. No, he stepped out, and I was like, I'll be honest, like, I've done a lot of hunting this year. It's been fortunate, but like, I was shocked. Like, I was in an old wooden stand 3 feet off the ground. If you're 3 feet off the ground with a compound bow, you got one arrow. I had other arrow out of my quiver. And what I did is I thought, I should prepare for a second shot, right? So I took the other arrow out of my quiver. I didn't want to have to pull it out. I sat it up just to get ready for another to send one. I made a mistake not shooting him right away when he stepped out, but I was in such shock. I had to see him for a minute, and I was stunned. I was honestly stunned by how big.
Yeah, I've seen it both ways. The majority of them come in really, really quiet. They're really light-footed for such a big animal. And I've also seen it where there's been a lot of bears in the area, and they make as much noise as they can to walk in to try to make themselves seem bigger than what they really are. But yeah, I mean, a squirrel makes a lot more noise than that bear does coming in.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's interesting too because I could tell for some reason, you as a bow hunter, I think you guys, you're sitting out there and you're watching an animal, and you start to read their mind, don't you? You start to see what they're thinking. Fortunately, that happened to me this year with my target buck, and he read my mind, and I read his, except he busted the bear. I just was amazed at how intuitive he was. And they told me they think that the bear I saw, I never harvested that bear. He ended up getting away, but I think it was a GoPro thing or he didn't like it or something. He just didn't stay around. They said that they thought he actually was a bear that was hit the previous year by a merchant in the shoulder. And that bear was real skittish. And when he came out, I read that. I was like, he is skittish. He was real careful. But of course, you get hit by an arrow in the shoulder. In that same bait pile, so he knew I'm gonna be careful when I do this.
Yeah, and they also know like where we were hunting up there, and you're able to bait them out there. It's density of the black bears there's a lot, but it's big woods. You're hundreds of thousands of acres of nothing, and then all of a sudden they're coming from 40 miles away to a barrel in the middle of the woods. Like they're going to be a little suspicious about that to start, especially when they only come out around hunting season and people are flinging things at them. So they get smart pretty quick.
But by far, I want to thank you, Paul, again for inviting me on that trip. I know your wife couldn't make it, and I felt bad about that, but that was one of the highlights of my hunting career and my experiences remembering that trip. So thank you for
absolutely. We'll be doing a lot more like that as soon as Noel opens his wallet and takes us on some trips. I mean, sorry, that was too soon, I know. All right, well, we are running over on time here, but it's a good first cast and shooting the crap with everyone and kind of coming through the off season. We got a bunch of guests coming on here in the next couple episodes. We talking specifics on things like mock scrapes and arrow builds and knocks and what do you do in the off season. We got tax season coming up, 3D shoots. We'll have a lot of updates on that. Who knows what else?
Predator calling too.
Yep, predator calling.
Yeah,
So we got a lot of good things coming down the pipe, and we'll probably revisit some of our guests from last year, see how their season went, and see what's new. We'll go from there. But thank you all for coming on today. It's nice to see your lovely faces again. Troy, please put your beard back because you're creeping me out. And I'm sure your wife feels the same way. And all right, well, this is the Bowmen Podcast signing off. Thank y'all.